what will be said. And I think, Oji, we must get to a time where we say enough is enough as regards people that think they can rig elections. And we must not give ears to the shambolic way politicians do things. Look at the party primaries, for instance. Counting disaster in the ADC and the APC. If both political parties think they can fix this country and they can't do common internal democracy, and even with other political parties,
New videos trending on social media from NDC presidential candidate Peter Obi's speech at the NDC aspirants dinner on Monday night in Abuja. Addressing the crowd, Peter Obi declared that the NDC was determined to build a political institution founded on service, fairness, inclusion, and internal democracy, rather than personal interest and transactional politics. But it is his bold warning on electoral integrity that is setting social media on fire, with Peter Obi imploring the public not to be afraid of any party rigging elections, stating that if votes aren't properly accounted for, they will personally step in to count the votes themselves. Let's take a look.
For those who want to rule Nigeria for the next 4 years, they must give us reason to vote for them. It's no longer going to be. Don't be determined about their threat to rig election. This time, our vote will count. Our vote count. If it doesn't count, those who refuse to count it will count it.
Please, before we continue, do me a favor by clicking on your subscribe button. Just the only way to encourage and support us.
This country must work. People can no longer take us for granted.
All right, I'll take a reaction from Nonso, who wrote, "That's the spirit Nigerians want to hear. Elections should be decided by the people, not by manipulation or intimidation. Every vote must count in 2027. If they refuse to count the votes, we will count them." And I hope that this is the spirit out there for Nigerians. Well, during his speech, Peter Obi also pointed to his shared belief with former Kano State Governor Rabiu Kwankwanso that the child of nobody can be somebody. Meanwhile, the OK ticket is already drawing fire from overseas. Former U.S. Mayor Mike Arnold has sparked fierce reactions online, declaring that a potential Obi Kwankwanso presidential ticket will be a national disaster, saying that he's not okay with an Obi Kwankwanso ticket, and neither should Nigerians be. Arnold, who says he has an open mind about Peter Obi, insists that Kwankwanso is where he draws the line, accusing the former Kano governor of links to terror and extremist networks, alleging involvement in corruption scandals, and describing him as a sniveling bootlicker who has switched political parties 5 times without ever abandoning his loyalties. Arnold specifically called out Kwankwanso's declaration of Sharia law in Kano in the year 2000 and the establishment of the Hisbah board, stating that it is the reason why he will actively oppose any ticket with Kwankwanso on it. Now, Rufai, Mike Arnold is, a former U.S. mayor, not a Nigerian voter. And, some Nigerians online have pushed back hard on his right to weigh in on Nigerian politics. But, his post lands at a sensitive moment with U.S. Congressman Riley Moore and Chris Smith having earlier this year recommended sanctions, asset freezes, and visa bans against Kwankwanso for alleged severe religious freedom violations. Now, the OK...
Please, before we continue, do me a favor by clicking on your subscribe button. Just the only way to encourage and support us.
Movement has momentum, but clearly not everyone is okay with it. Like, your thoughts?
So fact check. As regards Kwankwanso declaring what's it called, Sharia law. Yeah. In fact, because I remember that that thing had been said before, and somebody came to defend Kwankwanso's position here. Yeah. And they said during the first time as governor, in fact, he was initially reluctant to implement Sharia law, but eventually signed a private member Sharia's bill into law. In fact, Kwankwanso was one of the last northern governors to implement Sharia, as he feared it would disrupt social cohesion. All right? So that's just some fact check on that. But Mike Arnold has his right to be able to make his decision or political slant on anything. Yeah. The main slant for me will be that about what will be said. And I think, Oji, we must get to a time where we say enough is enough as regards people that think they can rig elections. And we must not give ears to the shambolic way politicians do things. Look at the party primaries, for instance. Counting disaster in the ADC and the APC. If both political parties think they can fix this country and they can't do common internal democracy, and even with other political parties, then in fact, somebody, I just saw someone who was coming in. He said it's from APGA. He said he was robbed. He was coming to see us. OJ, we've been getting messages from all political parties that they've been robbed one way or the other. Somebody was talking about PRP. I think Donald Duke has emerged candidate in PRP, and that is his running mate. Somebody was, one of the co-running mates too, also said they were hard done. You get, so almost every political party have not been able to fix the cases of internal democracy. And it's a big problem. For them to now think they have the temerity to rig, please, they should stop the rubbish they did in 2023. We remember what happened to Jennifer. We remember how some people carry Oro. Please, they shouldn't do it this time. Let the votes of the people count. And we beg them in the name of God. And that's just what Obi is saying here. OG, yesterday, I had a chilling conversation with a young man that told me that he used to be a political talk as at 2010. How they paid them 50,000, how they bought guns for them, how they went to do charms for them to be able to disrupt elections in polling units where their opposition is winning. We cannot go back to that same country. If you truly think that you love this country so much and you want to serve the people and it's not your interest, if the people choose you, you will accept. But you must not fraudulently put yourself in place. And that's what we keep saying. So, and please, we'll have to beg Inec. We are sick and tired. We must not hear the technical glitch you brought forward last year that have not been able to tell us what transpired.
Right.
The same technical glitch that only affected the presidential election. We are sick and tired of all of this shenanigans. We are sick and tired of all of this manipulation. Nigerians will just want to bleed. OG, we are celebrating Children's Day today, but children are in captivity. We have seen the cost and the reason for bad leadership consistently, not only in this administration, but in subsequent administration. We have seen the fact that military is not properly funded, but people's presidential fleet is funded. OG, we cannot go through all of this turmoil again. We have seen teachers beheaded. We need leadership that works.
All right.
Just a small caveat.
Quickly.
Now, while we all want free, fair, credible elections, there's even a group called Movement for Credible Elections, MCE, led by Professor Patutomi. Professor Patutomi was the first person, I think, on this table to say that in the 2027 elections, that the MCE or the opposition will have what they call their own alternative IREP portal strategy, and that they too will count the votes and also announce the votes. It's more or less what Mr. Peter Obi is also saying, that look, we will count the votes ourselves and announce the votes. The caveat is that it is only INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, that has powers under the law to announce election results, to set up IREP portal. Even the media cannot go ahead and be announcing final results on behalf of INEC. So it's a matter of law. Right. And that could create confusion if the opposition parties decide to announce their own numbers and you have a numbers confusion. And these political parties we have seen do not even have people who have basic education in simple arithmetics.
Arithmetic is very important. We have seen plenty of people.
I would love to start by saying that I will be using my page as a reference, to anything that has already come to pass, because I could say that I'm a kind of prophet. Remember, in my previous videos, when I was talking about this INEC Act that was, passed into law, I made emphasis that 2027 election is going to be the most brutal election, and there will be, a lot of discomfort and a lot of inconveniences that will be happening, in such as a lot of people will buy, and you see that people will be buy on a broad daylight. Yes, I make emphasis on that, because I think that people are willing now to take the bull by each one, meaning that no matter the amount of security agencies that may deploy in any polling unit, if the officers in charge of vote collection, is not properly guided, something else might happen, which I don't know. But with what P2B is saying, I think that this is what he noticed about his mistake in 2023 general election, because a lot of people were waiting for him to make a declaration. We should all remember that when Joe Biden won US election, Trump never accepts, and he made declaration that everyone should protect their vote, that caused the chaos in the US Capitol. Yes, which he was being, even till today. I think he's still facing the charges of that. And this is exactly what people expected from Goodluck Jonathan during 2015 general election against him and the Buhari. A lot of people were waiting for him. The Niger Deltas were waiting for him to make a declaration. But you see, I think that the statement of P2B is a bold statement, that if they fail to count the election, we count them too. Meaning that election must be counted either ways, and the people's vote must be defended. So the only obligation that we owe ourselves, if we really want a positive change in this country, is by one, make peace with your PVC if we are in quarrel with it, by going to the Inec, get your PVC. Then in the day of election coming January, be ready to vote, and after voting, stay and defend your vote by knowing the numbers of people who win and people who didn't win. It's high time that we get everything correct, and we must do it in accordance. Then once, you also owe the responsibility to escort the collection officers to the INEC office in your local government. Then from the INEC office in your local government, the party agency will take it up from there by escorting it to the headquarters of your state, which will be sending to to the Abuja now, whether by WhatsApp, phone call, or any other thing that they will use to translate it to them. But you have to protect your vote so that a positive change will happen. And I think that this is what Nigerians have been asking for more. And I think that this time around, everybody is going to get it right. Because imagine, a kg of gas has hit up to 2,000. Where are you going to see the money to buy a 12 kg of gas? So you can see that there is a lot of things that went wrong. And this 2027 election, if we didn't fix it, then it will fix us. Because if we look at the statement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Children's Day, what he said about the insecurity, you will know that he have already lost it, and he has nothing to do about it. Imagine, Commander-in-Chief is telling you to pray so that the bandit could rest their arms. What does that simply mean to you? That he has nothing to do for you people when it comes to the matter of insecurity. Well, share this video to all your social media platform. Share your own opinion in the comment section, and don't forget to click on the subscribe button.